We know that. We understand that we have no party. We have a one-party system. I mean, you ask yourself, where are those young conservatives that were elected? Senator Cotton, they stripped him of all committee assignments, denied all funding to his congressional district. In other words, they put him, he's the Rosa Parks of the Republican Party. And where is that young black lady elected in the last election, whose name you have forgotten, super conservative, Salt Lake City, black woman in a white district? Where is she? She's the Rosa Parks of the Republican Party. The vermin called John Boehner and McConnell, these racist pigs, put her in the back of the bus, and they get away with it. Why? Not because of the race or the sex or this. It's because of the politics. The conservative is the new black in America. The conservative is the new whipping boy in America. So what happened to the country? I don't know. So how do you live with it? You can complain about it day and night. You could sit and fetch and read the news stories about what they're doing and sit here and talk about a better time in the past and how we got to do this and got to do that. All right, there's an audience for that, but you know what? Don't count me out of that one. I've done it for 20 years. Let me tell you something. The world is changing around all of us. The landscape of politics is changing right in front of our eyes. It's as though a great smoke is coming off a swamp, and we don't even know what's going to be left when the smoke clears. It's as though we're waking up every day to a new dawn. And in this new dawn, there's a huge fog on a swamp. And we don't know what the swamp contains. We don't know what kind of animals are in that swamp. We don't know what's going to come at us next. That's how most people see the world. And I'm talking about people who are conscious. I'm not talking about the average schmendrick around you. The guy walking down the street next to you doesn't know what's going on around them. He doesn't know, nor does he care. When did he ever know or care? Tell me when the average Joe ever cared or knew what was going on around him. Never. Not until he walked into a plate glass window or got hit by a bus in a crosswalk did he know what was going on. But it's worse now. You got the schmucks running around with a phone in their hand, and they look at it. They cross a street looking into an iPhone. That's the world you live in. So the world's changing. Everything's changed. Radio's changing. Talk radio is not what it was, never mind 20 years ago, never mind 10 years ago, never mind 5 years ago. Talk radio is not what it was 1 minute ago. And so you have to be flexible. You have to be able to create. You have to be able to move on a dime. Not only for your own survival, but for the survival of the whole medium of talk radio. I'm taking a gamble. I'm experimenting. Yesterday I did the Bible. I don't want to do it right now. Now, if you want to call on it, I'll handle it. Today I'm doing something else. I'm doing music, poetry, science, art. I have a few ideas about where I'm going to go today, but I'm not 100% sure I'm going to let you take us there, because I feel that the American people themselves, who actually are tuned into talk radio, who still listen to talk radio, who care enough to pick up a cell phone and call a show, they will direct the future course of this country. And that's why I called it Unprotected Talk when I started this format a few years ago. Now, I went away from Unprotected Talk for a while, and I went into screen calls because I was getting such awful calls that I couldn't handle it. But now I'm going to go back to Unprotected Talk to see what's inside the swamp as the fog lifts. Let's begin on line number 2. Line 2, MAL, Washington, D.C. What's on your mind, line 2?
Yes, Dr. Savage. I hear that and the rumor that Obama, being satirical, wants to change dog food to make it more what Michelle Obama wants.
All right. You mean that it's not healthy enough for our animals? She needs a healthier dog food.
Right. We have to slim down.
Yeah, well, the pets need to. I wonder what Bo eats. Bo, the White House dog. I wonder if he gets a special slim-down dog chow. I kind of doubt it. I would suspect he dines on steak and Chardonnay. But anyway, what else is on your mind?
And on the China. Don't forget the fine China. Mm-hmm.
The who China? What who?
The White House porcelain China they eat on.
Well, what do you want them to eat on? Paper plates? It's not a picnic. It's the White House.
By the way, you have awesome callers, and you seem even more focused, Dr. Savage.
You mean even though I'm sounding unfocused, I'm more focused?
No, you were focused. Now you're.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm following the Cassius Clay lead. You knew him as Muhammad Ali. I still call him Cassius Clay, where he said, "Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee." You get what I'm saying? The neurotoxins in the verbal onslaught every day are enough to paralyze or anesthetize anybody. All right, I'm sending you a free copy of a book called Countdown to Mecca. You know that there are still people who read books. Would you believe that? In your lifetime, the bookstore will disappear, as sure as I'm sitting here. There'll be no bookstore. I don't know what it's going to be, like a barn with pet products in it or something. But I grew up writing books. I can't help it. I can't stop myself. To me, the book is still some kind of sacred thing. It's in my genetics. It's in my blood. It's in my people. It's in my genes going all the way back to Abraham, Isaac, and Moses. The book is still king to me. And so that's why I continue to write them. To me, the written word is something significant and something that will kind of always last. And that's why I continue to do books. I'm not going to change. Nevertheless, let's see what the listeners have to say. Line number 5. I have to go slowly because they don't know. See, if I don't say their number, they won't know they're going to be picked, and then there's a blank spot. So I have to sound like I'm talking to a Democrat voter. Line number 5. You're on the Savage Nation. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Mike. I'm commenting on your comment about you have to free yourself. And I don't see how how that can be done. It's always we're always having interference ran upon us. Example, war on women. Now I'm 55 years old, and I've always felt there was a war on men. You can't have.
No, there's no war on women. That's rubbish put out by the feminist Nazis, and we know that. What war on women? The only war on women is being conducted by ISIS. They don't say a word about it. I would say raping an 8-year-old girl that you kidnap and capture is a war on women. And I'd like to see one of those big, fat-mouthed, ugly things, those creatures in the women's movement, say one word about kidnap and rape in the Middle East. Don't give me this crap about war on women in America. There is no war on women.
Absolutely.
All right, so there's one from the heart and one from the gut. What more can I say? The Day of Feminists talks about the rape of young women in Nigeria by the Muslims in Boko Haram or whatever hocus hocus they are. Or the rape of young girls by Muslims in Iraq and Syria. They don't know there's someone who's serious about the war on women. I've just gotten over a sore throat. I shouldn't yell. I should not raise my voice. But I felt obligated to because there's nothing more serious than raping a woman. It's the worst crime you can commit on the planet. It's being done on a daily basis by the members of ISIS, ISIL. We give them such nice acronyms. They're vermin. They're subhumans. They should be snuffed off the planet. Obama has our Air Force heroes flying for hours and days around them and they don't fire a shot. Why not? Because they're on our side. We created them. We funded them. We gave them our equipment. That's why they can march with a 1-mile parade of their weaponry when they took over Ramadi and we didn't fire a rocket. They're working with us. That's one analysis that might be correct, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Well, let me go to the next step because it's bugging me now. How could ISIS make such gains when we have America and Israel, the most powerful militaries on the earth? Israel's in the area. What has Israel done to stop ISIS? Answer, nothing. So you have to say, wait a minute. Whoa. So what do the Israelis have to do with ISIS? You want me to go into a conspiracy theory that might be real? America and Israel are on the same page of letting ISIS rage. Why? Because they want ISIS to do their bidding in taking over Syria. They want ISIS to overthrow Assad. Do you understand that one? I don't know if people can follow this. Maybe I'm being too logical now after floating around with music by David Bowie to jump to that. Maybe too much of a jump cut for the movie called The Savage Nation. So let's go to the next caller out of the air. Pluck it out of the air, Mike. Mike, pluck it out of the air. Line 3. Go ahead. You're on The Savage Nation from MAL in Washington. What's on your mind, sir?
Yes, Michael. I can't tell you how much you made my night when you talked about expunging the Bible of the injunctions to kill for this sin or that sin. Because before you said all that, I already had rejoiced in thinking that we had reached the nadir of our culture with Bruce Degenerate. I said,
yes,
can't go any lower than that.
Well, right. Howard Stern's wig and Bruce Jenner's penis are in the same category as Obama's patriotism.
But I'm one of the members. I'm a member of the largest group you have in the religious Jewish community, Chabad. And so I look at things a little differently.
You are a Chabad member, and you didn't take umbrage with my suggestion that the calls for homicide should be expunged from the Old Testament?
No, I doubly rejoiced because I realized that...
Wow. No, I can't believe... I figured I lost my entire religious Jewish audience yesterday.
Well, you see, you don't have the mentality that we have in the Chabad community. The mentality that we have is when you say borders, language, and culture, we know that we came out of Egypt. Egypt was the lowest level of humanity that ever existed. And we had something that were called Mitzorim. Mitzorim means borders.
Oh, now, well, hold it. Now I'm going to get a lecture on something. Am I getting a slight migraine? Where are we going with this?
This, that since you were talking about expunging the Bible, the holiest book that ever was, the book that we never wrote, that no man ever wrote, but because of your anthropology background and you subscribe to cultural relativism, you think that it must be something that man made up. It can't be anything greater than that.
All right, so you're taking umbrage with my suggestion that the calls for homicide be written. You're actually taking the opposite view.
Right, and you know why? Because
you're a fanatic. I understand why. Because you're a robot and a fanatic.
No, because there's a prophecy that says that the Messiah will not come until the whole world turns to heresy. So here you have Michael Savage.
All right, here we go. Now the whole world's turning to heresy because I said take murder out of the Bible. Great. Yeah, well, why don't you hang me now? I'm a heretic. Hang me now because I said stop killing the homosexuals because they're getting it from the Quran. So I'm the bad guy or they're the bad guy?
You don't play the game. You can't make up the rules. Now, let me tell you about the Bible.
Oh, I can't make up the rules. So you want me to go out and kill gays? Is that what you're saying?
We would do that. The Jewish people didn't have any reformation, contrary to what you said. The Jewish people only had been expelled.
Now, wait a minute. Then why don't Orthodox Jews go out and kill adulterers?
The whole Holy Land wouldn't tolerate...
No, you have to answer the questions. You're telling me you want the Bible interpreted literally. Isn't that what you're saying? Because God wrote it?
Not to be interpreted literally.
I'm asking you to answer a question. Stop hocking me at Shinik like I'm some 13-year-old in a synagogue that you can beat up with a foul breath and garlic falling out of your pocket, with sponge cake falling out of your beard. Stop it already. Answer my question. Do you want to go out and kill adulterers because your God wrote it?
Because God is our creator, and we have to answer to him. You don't, because you're a free thinker.
I just asked you a question. So then you're saying Chabadnik should kill adulterers?
I'm saying all Jews, because God commanded it, and the eternal covenant should do what God commands. Don't you?
So you say then that you want to go out and kill adulterers. Is that what you're arguing?
Other things being equal, we would do it. We haven't been reformed. The Muslims...
Wait, I don't understand. What do you mean things being equal? So you mean the fanatical Chabad organization would actually kill adulterers if they could?
The whole Jewish organization would do it, not just Chabad, because it's an eternal commandment from God.
So you believe in killing gays and you believe in killing adulterers? Are you kidding me?
I believe what God tells me as a commandment to do. You don't, because you're a free thinker. That's where you're going wrong.
So what stops you from killing adulterers?
Because we're not living in our country with other things being equal. We don't have the temple. We don't have everything around.
Oh, so in other words, when the great days return, you'll start killing adulterers and gays?
False. When the great days return, there won't be any sin any longer. People will see the right thing to do automatically because the knowledge of God will fill the world like the water covers the seabed.
So in other words, when Leviticus says a man or a woman that divineth by a ghost or a familiar spirit shall be put to death, you want to kill astrologers?
They won't exist in the time of the world's transformation to the Messianic era because they'll see the right thing to do automatically.
Well, that's an interesting logical shift. So when the world turns to the perfect place and is transformed to a perfect place, you won't have to kill adulterers and astrologers.
Won't be any because we go back to the times of Adam and Eve. It's all rectified.
Do you, as a listener of my show, although you're a religious man, so you can no longer listen to me now, right?
I can listen to you because I told you I rejoiced in what you said. It means we're coming into the era of the final redemption. The Messiah won't come until the world turns to heresy. So you have a Jew who doesn't play the game, but he makes up the rules, and he says we can't have our holy book. That couldn't be anything lower than that.
When did I say you can't have your holy book?
When you say we can take things out of it, or maybe even add things to it, we have in the book itself that says, by God, we cannot do that.
So you're no different than the fanatical Muslim. So the Orthodox Jew and the fanatical Muslim are one and the same.
The
only difference is the Muslim has the nerve to carry it out. You don't.
Because
why don't you just convert to Islam and do what you really want to do? Why don't you join ISIS and go kill gays and adulterers in Syria? You might be happier. You won't have to constrain yourself there in Brooklyn. I'll be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282.
My